I want to know, if you guys could hang out with any cartoon character for a day, who would it be and why? I have a kind of a kid answer, what would have been my answer as a kid, and that would be Michelangelo. It's not even my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and Raphael's cool and all, but we all know that he's kind of rude. Leonardo, he leads. I just feel like I'm going to get bossed around all day, and Donatello does machine. Like, no, that missed me with that nerd stuff. But Michelangelo, he's a party dude. I feel like we just kick back and chill. We can go do kung fu with Splinter, and then just, eat pizza. I'll tell him to get one without anchovies for me, and skateboard our way down the sewer pipes. That would have been my pick as a kid.
I like it.
That's good.
I like it.
Are we picking if we were a kid or
That was just my twist on my answer.
Okay.
I'm going adult.
Me as well.
You lighten one up with Shaggy, Mike?
There we go.
Probably not.
No, we all know he would pick Velma. Let's be honest.
I mean,
he just keeps throwing our glasses to the ground.
Oh no!
Put him down. Put him down. I feel like I've had all day to ponder this question, and I thought about other things.
Yeah.
Oh, this question was texted in the chat?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, tough.
It doesn't have to be a TV show. It could be a movie. It could be anime. So take your pick. Just has to be a cartoon.
Ooh, anime.
Yeah, I figured you'd like it, Lou.
Oh, Donde está la biblioteca? Yummers.
You got one, Andrew?
I don't have a great answer to this one. I'll say, Bugs Bunny. I feel like
Not Lola?
Ew,
fun.
that's weird.
Some fun hijinks with him.
There you go.
He seems pretty well put together. I feel like if I stick close to him, I'll be protected from any other cartoon characters.
But would you have to be always on the run with him? He's always being hunted.
It also seems like he would try to
just hang out for a day.
That's true. It's just for a day.
He also single-handedly, beat an entire Major League Baseball team. So I feel like, I could leverage his skills to maybe win a bet.
There you
That's all
go.
I'm saying.
And
make
he
some money
teamed
off.
up with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. So,
This is true.
he's got
Two-sport
connections.
athlete.
What does that have to do with anything about hanging out with him? He just hangs out with other athletes.
It's a gateway to Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
There we go.
True.
What do you
Networking.
What do you think of, Lou?
I'm gonna go with Sokka from
I was thinking about that one.
Avatar. I think he'd be a fun hang, especially if we got into some cactus juice. I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll
I might
quench
have
you.
to revise mine to Uncle Iroh. I could have a nice,
Ooh,
hot
that's
Nice tea.
conversation
Philosophical.
outside.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buzz Bunny just sounds like an absolute headache to hang out with.
That's fair. You'd have to be in the mood. Maybe have to take a couple shots of espresso to keep up.
Or cactus juice.
Or cactus. We should, if we do sell merch, we should sell.
Cactus
We should
juice.
be a beverage company. We're gonna be the next Prime.
Comes down to you,
Alright.
Mike.
I got it. Okay, kind of an obscure pick. I'm gonna pick David, the boyfriend of the older sister in Lilo and Stitch.
Haven't
He's the
watched that in
surfer
a
guy
minute.
and the fire dancer. I know. I've just been scrolling through characters and I saw Lilo and Stitch and that I was like, that guy seems like super chill, good hang, solid day, just broing out. I don't want too I'm looking for the exact opposite of Bugs Bunny, in all honesty. Sounds like we'd have a good time, but without having to put too much pressure on.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. We have the original guest, OG Andrew, is back to talk to us about video game series. But welcome back to the pod, Andrew.
Hey, good to be back.
Are you
Since
clapping with your hands?
since I was last on here, no, that was Mike. Since I was last on here, we did top sports moments, and that was back in September of last year. And what's
Yeah.
remarkable, since then we had a whole football season basically, and my entire list would be different because since then Michigan won its first national championship since the year I was born, 1997, and the Lions won their first playoff game since before any of us were alive, 1991. And the fact that both those things happened in the same season is just pretty surreal to me.
That's fair, man.
Bam. There we go.
We need to do a sports episode soon. It's been a
itching.
minute.
Well, Mike, do you want to kind of explain what we're doing this episode? I know you've explained it to us a few times, so I'm sure you got it down by now.
Yeah, so what we're going to do this episode is we're going to be covering our top five, there's four of us, top three video game series. And instead of our usual order where we go 3, 2, 1, and we work our way up to the best, we are going to do a draft. So anything that gets picked cannot be repeated. As a result, we're going to do a snake draft, which basically means whoever goes first in the first round goes last in the second round. So it's going to go first, second, third, fourth. Fourth gets to pick twice in a row, and then third, second, first, and then just, zigzagging back and forth.
So we can't do Bubsy the cat twice, is what you're saying.
Nope.
I suppose I am saying that.
And I think we had a rule where the series had to have at least 2 games, but Mike was arguing for 3. But I think 2 was the.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stand firm on 3, but 2 is totally fine.
All right, so I have the list of our names going from oldest to youngest, 1 through 4. If you're on YouTube, you can see right now. I have it up on the screen. Just Googling roll a d4. So let's find out. We got a number. It's going to go from oldest to youngest. That's very easy. Mike, you're on the clock. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm sorry, man. I'm taking Metroid #1 overall. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who's listened to any of our other video game series. I knew this was going to be I knew whoever went first, me or Andrew, would end up grabbing it. So for those who don't know, Metroid is a 2D adventure exploration action platformer primarily. There's also the Prime series 3D primarily, and I don't like the Prime series, or at least I didn't like Prime 1 and I never played past it, so I'm not really going to talk about them, but they are very similar in structure to the 2D games. Yeah, I absolutely love these games. I love starting out. It's the original Metroidvania, which is cool, and so 1, I love that it birthed my favorite genre of games. And then 2, just like that feeling of starting out helpless and weak and working your way up into just an absolute behemoth by the end of the game is so much fun. And the gameplay cycle of having to remember, of unlocking an ability and then having to remember, oh, this is where I can use that ability, and backtracking. And the fun that comes with that, of backtracking through an old area with new abilities and being able to experience it differently. I love the whole thing. I've played all 5 of the mainline games, and the exception of the first one, I think the first one you really should go for the remake. I think they all stand up on their own very well. Even 2 I enjoy for what it is. I haven't played the remake. I'm sure I'd enjoy it. I think all of them are really, really solid examples of the genre. Super, of course, is kind of the pinnacle, but I think each of them have their own thing and they do it well. And yeah, Metroid is easily my #1 franchise for video games.
I've said this to Mike, I know. Growing up, so I love Metroid also, and it would have been near the top of my list. And I've told Mike before that growing up, I always just assumed that it was on equal footing with Mario and Zelda. And it wasn't until, I was a bit older that I realized, hey, not a lot of kids have actually played this. And then I learned that, they don't sell very well. They don't sell well in the home country of Japan where it's made. It's kind of more of a niche product, but I think in terms of quality of game design, it certainly holds its own with any franchise by Nintendo or otherwise.
It's true. If it wasn't for Super Smash Brothers, I probably wouldn't know the Metroid series. Because I've played some Metroid games, but I've never actually beaten one.
Which ones have you played?
I've started Super Metroid. I have it on the Virtual Console, and then just put it down, never got back to it. And then the one for the original DS, I played. Probably not the best one by far, but
no,
I love speed running them. I love 100%ing them. I like speed running 100% of it.
Ooh.
And it's kind of interesting how you just grow to know the game better over time. When you first play it, you're learning the world, you're finding where everything is, and then you just start to optimize. You keep playing through it, and you're improving your time, and it just becomes this great flow.
Yeah, the only one I ever speed ran was Zero Mission, and I was never like I think I was checking my time, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, I think I could make a leaderboard, but if I'd recorded it, but it wasn't like I'm doing well on a leaderboard. It's like based on all of the speed runs recorded, I could be on here technically. And better than some, but that's not saying much.
I do.
But the problem was I never wanted to do either minimum or 100%. I always was like, I really like this route, and I think that's really fun. But there wasn't a specific speed run for that route, and so I essentially was just bad at a less optimal, more. I was doing a terrible job at minimum items essentially.
I did play one of the Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games on my friend. He had it, so I did play a little with that, but never owned it. Lou, what do you think about Metroid?
I like Metroid in the sense of I like that it's one of the OGs. I also have never really finished a game, but I tried to play it on PC. It just wasn't really
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yes, allegedly. Sorry. Check back into earlier podcasts. But yeah. It's not fun to play on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, no, that would not be something I enjoyed. I have played Castle Knight mouse and keyboard before, and if you're determined, you can have an okay time doing it.
What's Castle Knight?
That's the Castle Knight.
You mean
Hollow
Shovel
Knight.
Knight? Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, Hollow Knight mouse and keyboard. I got there. I got to the point where I was decent. But yeah, their game's built for controllers.
Did Metroid come out before Castlevania?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Metroid's 80. I think Metroid's 86. Maybe they both came out the same year. Let's consult the intern.
And even if they didn't, the first Castlevania that was that gameplay style was applied to the term was Symphony of the Night for the PlayStation. The earlier games were not really what they were talking about when they used the term.
It is older
Drum
by a
roll,
year.
please.
Oh,
there you go. You answered it already. But yeah, Metroid 1986 August, and then Castlevania May 1987. So Samus 1 year older than
Than Belmont.
Yeah, and 1 year younger than not. I guess technically a bit more than Mario, but Mario came out with Donkey Kong, which came out before the NES, I suppose.
That's true. Yeah. Well, that was Jumpman.
that's true. How many games did you guys prepare for this one? I know Mike did all 12, just in case.
I had 12.
I did 12 just for fun. Yeah.
I got 6.
I don't think I'll have to go through it because the likelihood that you guys
Right.
are gonna pick like 9 that
yeah.
I want,
Yeah, I got 9.
Oh my goodness. Well, because I did originally, I thought it was just gonna be a 3-person, so I did 5 and got 1 honorable mention in there, and then you're like, oh, we're doing 3s. I'm like, okay, I'll just keep them because I don't think you're gonna take
There you go.
all of them gonna be taken. But Lou, what are you picking for your number 1?
I'm gonna go Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Ooh.
Yeah,
nice.
Mario Kart.
Wow, Mario Kart ahead of Mario. It's a bold call.
Easily.
It's a hot take.
Honestly,
Yeah, I agree with that
don't-
take.
I do not like Mario games very
Wow.
much.
Whoa!
Odyssey, I think was okay,
Wow.
but no. I mean, I will say Mario 3 when he got that furry tail,
Tanuki?
the butt plug tail. I've always been
The
a big
furry.
fan of that. I have enjoyed that very much when I was a kid, but generally not a big fan. Mario Kart, though, on the other hand, always been a fan. It's always been a fan favorite. It's always been a family favorite that we always did. So, yeah, big fan. Double Dash, I think, is king. I don't think anything could
Ooh.
beat
My
Double
man.
Dash.
I disagree.
Sorry, the new one's the best.
I agree.
I
8
think
is the best.
objectively, it is the best.
I
yeah.
mean, yes, I will say the new one because it has all these maps and because it's fine tuned. Yes,
The
but
controls are just great, and drifting feels fantastic, and you can customize the item list. I think,
I didn't
generally
realize that.
speaking, it gets better with every entry. A lot of people have the
I didn't really like
nostalgia
Wii.
goggles for 64.
mm,
With 64, the AI is broken.
Oh, 64 sucks.
It's got
I-
64
it's
is
pure
the
Pure
original
nostalgia
one.
for me. Pure nostalgia for
Yes.
64. And that's I think Double Dash has some has heavy nostalgia carrying it.
oh, easily.
But I'd put it at number 2.
Well, no, dude,
as I said
think,
that.
I genuinely think that Double Dash was the first of the good Mario Karts. Like, I think you can go back and play it, and it holds up, and it is a ton
It
of
definitely
fun.
holds up better.
But me and Andrew were actually talking about Mario Kart on Sunday or last Sunday, the Sunday prior to this past one. Doesn't matter. And my thing with Mario Kart is I think everybody gets one, right?
Yeah.
So like for my uncles, it's Super Mario Kart and
Oh my god, that game
Super
sucks.
Mario Kart 64. But it's the game that those are the games that they put the most hours into.
Right.
And there comes a point where it's like, I don't have the time as an adult to invest into a new Mario Kart to get as good as I am at my Mario Kart. Like, you get 1, maybe 2 that you can be incredible at.
That concept might be revisited on my list with a different series.
I disagree,
yeah.
but maybe that's just because I'm different. Like 64 is what I grew up with and played and all that, and then but I just fell in love with Mario Kart 8. It's a beautiful game. Graphics are amazing. Everything feels tight. And I played originally on the Wii U, so it was a little different than the deluxe edition on Switch. It's Just the drifting is a little different, but yeah, I just think 8 is the best optimized.
I mean, I definitely agree that it's the most optimized, but like for me, it's like I'm never gonna be able to like it as much as Double Dash because I've put hundreds of hours into getting as good as I am at Double Dash.
Also, the gimmick with Double Dash doesn't really work as an only child. So,
see, the gimmick. So here's the thing,
or a parent that doesn't play video games
too. To play with 2 people to a cart, like it's actually kind of sucks.
I enjoyed it as a kid. Maybe it's because I just was interacting with people, but you know.
Yeah, any way that you could fit in that you were only child.
Just trying to get the pity points. No.
You're just like, you want a family bag of chips? Well, you know, I've always only child.
Yeah, so. You know. It's... Never got the family deals because just me and my mom, you know.
You guys ever play the Super Circuit, the one on the Game Boy Advance?
I haven't. I've heard it's pretty good though. If you like the 2D style.
Yeah, it's not bad. I remember. I mean, this is why I picked it as a trilogy, is because there are definitely multiple entries that I fully enjoyed. But man, that blue shell. There's times where playing Mario Kart could really just hurt the soul. Have
you ever dodged a blue shell?
Once or twice.
A couple times, but not as a kid.
It is one of the never as a kid, but it is one of the greatest feelings that this
without
world
an
has
item.
To offer.
Because now you can use the sound block or whatever it is.
Oh yeah. No,
have
you ever dodged it on your like using a drift or a mushroom? Well, I think even using a mushroom in earlier games, it's still an incredible feat. Yeah, it's such a precise timing. I've only done it twice, and I did it in the same day, and like I was just pure euphoria for the whole rest of the day.
Just rock hard. Sorry, just got a rock hard cart playing. Sorry. Oh shit.
All right, I'm gonna just steal from Andrew. I know he's gonna be mad that probably 2 of his top. I'm guessing top 4. I haven't seen his list. I'm guessing 2 of his top 4 are stolen, and that's gonna be the Legend of Zelda series. For me, it was my escapism as a kid. Obviously, insert only child joke here, but I would go and I would just live in the world. I would create stories. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I was totally immersed into Ocarina of Time or Ocarina of Time, depending on however you say it. And I loved it. I didn't get Majora's Mask at the time, but now I've went back and played it, and I love that one too. Wind Waker, again, didn't like it at the time, and I think it's come back, and a lot of people like it. I'd probably put it as my 4th or 5th best Zelda game, but Twilight Princess for me also.
It's a little easy.
Yeah, but Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess, those is like a golden trio for me, and those are just some of the best games. And even going back and playing like the older games, I also played like Link's Awakening was fantastic. Story of Seasons, Story of Ages. There's just so much that offers it, and I like that good puzzle game. I like the dungeons, and that's one of my problems with the Breath of the Wild. And I haven't played enough of Tears of the Kingdom, so forgive me there. I don't know, but the dungeons just
it's pretty much the same.
That wasn't there for me.
They're not great.
They don't scratch the itch.
No, they don't scratch the itch, and I just love the characters, the world building, and then I think Nintendo's timeline makes no sense and is busted, but that's a whole different thing.
None whatsoever.
But yeah, I just absolutely love it. I'm looking at my my office right now. I have like 3 Twilight Princess things like just around and all that and more. I have an ocarina right on my desk, and that's the Ocarina of Time and everything. So yeah, for me, this is just my childhood. It was all around Legend of Zelda, and yeah, that's why it's my first pick, because I knew it would get. If I didn't pick it, I was guessing Andrew was going to go for it in one of his next 2 picks. But go ahead and you can add on to that, Andrew, or anyone else if you guys have anything.
Yeah, so I've had 3. You know, these have all been like 3 in my top, 6 or so.
Oh, you had Mario Kart on there too?
I did.
Nice.
Yes, I'm a big Nintendo fan. And I love Zelda, but it's kind of interesting because I haven't actually experienced Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, 2 of your favorites. I played Zelda 1 through 4, so Zelda 1, 2, Link to the Past, and Ocarina. And then I basically skipped all the way to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I loved all of them. And I've also played the Link Between Worlds and Link's Awakening remake, and those are great too. But I kind of missed out on those middle games, which is kind of interesting. But I love the series. I like the old style. I like the new style. I like 3D. I like 2D. I know some people here have very strong opinions one way or the other. I think I'm the only one. I think maybe Lou likes the new ones, but I know Mike and Rob, you don't.
I mean, I don't hate them, but I don't like them as much as I like the old ones. I also prefer 2D to 3D.
I
do push back. Some people not to name names, say that the new Zelda, like it's not true Zelda. But in some ways, I think it is very true Zelda, and that it really goes back to the roots of the original, which is about exploration, and that's what ultimately inspired Shigeru Miyamoto to create the series in the first place. He said it stemmed from memories exploring caves and forests in his backyard in Japan. So, and I think it really captures that spirit of exploration, where everywhere you feel like you're going the right way, and there's something to capture your attention in that direction.
Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons to get a Wii U. Well, not you've lost a lot with the Virtual Console, but before that, they'd have the Virtual Console, which the Switch lacks, which is awful and a whole different discussion. But the Wind Waker HD and the Twilight Princess HD are like definitely the definitive ways to play those games. So if you're ever gonna go back and play them, I'd recommend those ways. So there's just a lot of quality of life updates and things like that.
Is there a reason besides those two games to get a Wii U?
Well, like I said, it was for a while the Virtual Shop, but that's been shut down. So it had like everything from the Wii, and you could carry it over. And then the Switch Smash Bros. Kind of made Smash 4 obsolete. But yeah, those were the two
and
main
Mario
ones.
Kart and Donkey Kong. Basically, every good game on Wii U has been ported except like Wind Waker HD.
And Twilight Princess. I don't think has the Donkey Kong for Wii U. Was it the Frozen has that been ported?
Yep.
Okay.
Tropical Freeze. Yeah. It is on Switch.
I've heard great things about the game. Haven't played it.
It is good.
I also heard good things.
Good.
I'm just waiting for Lou to pick the Donkey Konga series, but we'll see. Andrew, did anyone else have anything to add for Legend of Zelda?
I'm good.
All right, Tingle's a freak. Andrew, what's your number 4?
Okay, well, I got back-to-back now.
You do.
Just start yapping, as the kids say. I would say my two favorite genres are platformers and fighting games, so I'll try and capture a bit of both of those with these next two picks. Lou, you're wrong. Mario is a fantastic series, so I'll use that as my first pick. Truly revolutionized gaming as we know it, with both the original Donkey Kong and then later Super Mario Brothers. Best NES game, what is it? Mario 3. Best SNES game, Super Mario World is up there.
Yep.
Mario
Link to the
64,
Past.
arguably the best game on 64.
Ocarina of Time.
Well, actually, Super Metroid is better than both those, but
That's true.
It's neither here nor there. Anyways, I love the platforming of Mario. I love it's just such a fun and cozy game to play. Great soundtrack. It feels like what a video game to me should be. And so that's why I have it there.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of really good points. It definitely is like a defining game in the first several generations of console gaming. You know, it defined 2D platforming, and then it perfected 2D platforming, and then it defined the 3D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't play a lot of the later ones, but I mean, I know Galaxy is like hailed by many as like one of the greatest games of all time.
Sunshine's
broken AF, but I have a lot of nostalgia. I have the nostalgia glasses for it. I can recognize it's deeply flawed more than most Mario games, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to it that it's so flawed and yet people still remember it so fondly.
All right, maybe I was a little hard on Mario.
I mean, I agree. I think also, Mario is overhyped. Overrated.
Yes,
overrated. But I'm just not a big platformer guy, so for me, Mario doesn't do much. I like his off.
It's not as consistent as Zelda is. Like,
No.
I think Mario Odyssey can stand toe-to-toe with Breath of the Wild and Tears. I think Mario 64 can stand shoulder-to-shoulder with Ocarina. But then you have a lot of somewhat, not mediocre is not the right word, but just only okay, like the new Super Mario Brothers series. And it does kind of, the Mario brand, even if it's not the same series, maybe it gets watered down with, like, they put his name on sports games and they put him in Mario Party and they just slap it all here and there. I think people forget how truly special Mario used to be when it was just like the classic platforming series.
It's true. Even the new Super Mario Bros. Games though, like the only one of those I ever played was the one ported to the Switch.
Also on Wii U originally, 3D World.
Yeah, I heard so many complaints. Not 3D World. New Super Mario Bros.
Oh, the Wii U one. Yeah.
I think it's like the
also
longest
Wii U
title
port.
ever. But like all the complaints I heard were people like it's just more of the same. It's totally lost. It's like it's luster. But as the only one of those games I played, I was like, this is fun. I really like this. I played it. I beat it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I didn't 100% it, but I've only ever 100%ed Super Mario World in terms of the Mario games, so that's par for the course.
I think you'd like 3D World. It's 3D, but it's based around a 2D platformer.
Is that the one that's sold with Bowser's Fury?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a little of it. Mackenzie was way more into it, and so I basically only played it when she got totally stuck on a level, and she'd be like, "Beat this for me," and then she'd get really mad because I'd usually beat it first or second try. But I did enjoy it. 3D Mario, I don't enjoy it anywhere near 2D Mario. Also, the Super Mario Maker games, I love me some Super Mario Maker 2, and I feel like that gets forgotten in the discussion of Mario games a lot.
How was the new Mario game? I haven't really heard. I know it came out, but I haven't really heard much of it.
It stands between the new Super Mario Brothers series, which kind of feels to me soulless and generic and all the samey. It at least feels unique and it feels like they put more thought and attention to it, but it doesn't reach the heights that they've gotten to with the 3D series.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say it's the best 2D one since Mario World. So best 2D Mario in 3 decades.
All right, we're moving to round 2.
Well, so I said platformers and fighting games are former. I guess I'll go to the fighting genre.
Super.
And really, there's 2 contenders here: Street Fighter and
Brothers.
Smash Brothers. And I already mentioned to Mike, he brought up like how he invested a lot of hours to get really good at Double Dash. When it comes to Street Fighter, I do really enjoy it, but you have to sink time in to get good at those. You really have to put forth the effort. And I haven't even picked up the newest entry, Street Fighter 6, and which is why it's not on here. I'm going to go with Smash Brothers. And I haven't played the new Street Fighter just because I don't have the time anymore to just commit to learning a character that well to be able to play it well. So I'm going to go with Smash, which
has Street Fighters in it.
Does have Street
True.
Fighter.
This is true. It serves as both a great fighting game. It's a great party game. You can play it casually with friends. You can get really intense with tournaments. It's hands down my favorite multiplayer series of all time. And it just has brought a lot of joy to me as both a kid and as an adult. And it just so happens that I'm the best player I know of and can kick everyone on this pod's ass, including Rob.
Well, you messed me during my prime. I've retired.
Ike's the main, by the way.
Get out of
pretty
here.
good. Rob was. I'm not gonna say Rob was. I'm not gonna lie. Rob was pretty ruthless when he was at his prime. It was almost to the point where I didn't want to play with him.
Rob, what's your favorite? Are you a melee purist or do you like?
No,
Smash
I'm an I play Ultimate. I've always just played the newest ones. Brawl would go back and play Melee, but I didn't really get. So my friend groups, we would have like a semester long. We'd have weekly matches and play, and then have like an end of the semester tournament. So my apartment was just always filled with people playing Smash Bros. So I could pick it up whenever. And we started out on 4, and then moved to Ultimate, and we had I think that was our longest one. But yeah, we were there. There were some sweats there, let me tell you. Literally, one guy just was always sweating. We had to like spray the couch down because it just got nasty.
Ew.
I think there was something going. I think it was like something genetic. So I'm not going to fault him too much, but because he was just sweating all the time.
You gotta get that old person like plastic over the couch when it comes.
There we go. Yeah, at least he had his own controller, so it wasn't like we picked it up and just look.
Oh yeah, that is always a terrible.
But GameCube controller all the way.
Times, but okay, here's a question: if you could have one character in Smash that isn't in Smash yet, who would you want?
Wow,
They kind of hit my game. I always wanted Sora as a kid, so they kind of hit that one in there.
They've kind of really hit a lot of them. Like previously, I would have said Ridley.
Okay.
Now he's in Smash Ultimate, though, right?
Yeah, I have one in mind, but I want to.
For the memes, I would say Waluigi, just because the internet would probably have a little. I'll have a shared. And we'll leave it at that.
I think Goku would just be hilarious.
That would be fun.
It would make no sense, but like Goku versus Mario would just be.
Well, Minecraft Steve doesn't make any sense, but
It makes more sense. I mean, Steve's a video game character.
There's DBZ characters.
There are video games, but he's not like a video game character, I would say.
Have you
like Darth Vader? Darth Vader's not a video game character. He just happens to be in video games.
He's in Soul Calibur,
He is. This is true. He has fighting game experience.
So I got 3 that I think would be super fun. The first 2 are kind of a tag team. I think Crash and Spyro would both be really fun. But for me, the Knight from Hollow Knight, I would love to be able to play him in Melee.
Yeah, that would be cool. The same kind of fighting style too would be dope.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Like, if you could basically go in, play like you were in Hollow Knight, and they just balanced it out so that the damage was fair, I think it could be so cool. It would probably be a little broken, but I would also love to be able to take like the Knight as someone who's really good at Hollow Knight, not myself, but it's like somebody who's way better than myself at Hollow Knight, and watch the Knight go up against like one of the Street Fighter characters, but you got to play him like a Street Fighter character. That'd be wild.
I'm going to say Eddie Riggs. It's the main character from Brutal Legend, aka Jack Black.
Oh,
He uses like a guitar as like an axe and everything.
Could he have Nacho Libre alternate?
Ooh, that could be a
costume?
skin. Yeah, it could be one of the skins. It could be like different Jack Black, you know.
Yeah,
I'd take
School
that.
of Rock.
He could have a
Jack Black,
Bowser
yeah.
one
There
too.
you
School
go.
of Rock. King Kong.
Oh, now you're.
He could have the motorcycle guy from Anchorman. Bring that up.
his like down B is like kicking dogs in your face.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy would actually be pretty sick in Smash.
What about you, Lou? You got a pick?
I'm really struggling. I was thinking Ditto from Pokemon, and do some sort
Just
of
transforms?
Cool.
transforms a little bit, so you can play like different kind of characters at the same time. I don't know. It sounds
It could be
massive.
kind of like Kirby, but with like a timer on it. So like it just you switch back to Ditto, and then it's like okay, cool. Now I gotta.
Isn't there a assist trophy
get
like
something
that like copies the character? Maybe there was
may
one.
be.
I
don't play with items.
Yeah, it's like
I'm legit.
I
I will
maybe-
add.
free stock 6 minutes. Let's go.
No minutes. What? There's no time limit.
What do you get out of here? If you think you're all pro and you don't put freaking minutes on it, yeah, it's 3 stock, but you have to have the minutes so you're not just like sitting on the edge waiting for someone. Bro, watch some tournaments.
If you're
Get
sitting on
good,
the
scrub.
edge, I'm gonna come and smack your ass.
Yeah, well, we'll see that.
Like,
Easy dodge, smack you down, and then spike
God.
you.
I'm getting turned. I was thinking Sans from what's that
There's a good
stupid
one.
Undertale.
Undertale. I was thinking Sans from Undertale.
Becca
Great
would like
pick.
that.
Great pick.
Yeah, that's it.
Mike and I, predominantly me, but Mike was in the conversation once. Last year, we had a whole discussion at someone's house about which Smash characters you could take in real life, and it's a pretty small list.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
Olimar,
Olimar, yeah,
is
it's like
an
Olimar.
small, so you could step on him.
I would
I could
destroy that
kill the
dog.
villager, and the dog from Villager, and the Duck Hunt dog. That's like a 50-50 match because his jaws are the size of like your torso, so you gotta be really careful.
Oh wow.
But that's about the whole list, I think.
He does. Does he have the gun or no?
No, he doesn't have the gun.
Pack,
no, you have
Pack,
the gun.
yeah.
I have just collected.
Mr. Game Watch is relatively small, you know, especially if you put him like in the actual Game Watch size. So
He
maybe I
has a
have to take
bomb
him.
though, so I don't wanna throw hands with somebody who's just carrying a bomb around in their pocket. That might end poorly.
Maybe Pichu. I don't know.
That electricity though.
I wouldn't want to try it. You might be right, but
I mean, what if it's
What's
like
your,
nice though?
What's your pick?
Gosh, I'm torn. I don't think this one could be on lose, but I don't want to. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna put the Mass Effect trilogy on here.
Was on my list.
solid.
Yeah, I think it has some of the best RPG mechanics out there, and it is just such an immersive world building. The really only bad thing I have to say about the first trilogy is the extended ending of 3 was still kind of a letdown. It wasn't as bad as the original one, but then the Mako tank sucked at driving. But I just loved all the characters, and that's one big thing for me is like characters and story, and just like how real the world is. It made me want to go out and just explore these fun reaches of space, and they actually had stuff to do. Starfield looking at you, and you know, just it was such a magical experience, and just the gameplay, the gun combat was fun. You know, who doesn't love being, I'm Commander Shepard and this is my favorite store at the Citadel. Like, it's just so much good. Replayability is fun, and I love the aesthetics and, yeah, gameplay. I enjoyed the multiplayer of 3 as more of like a horde, like Gears of War. So it was that a wave shooter type thing. I enjoyed it. Me and my friends would play it, but I know that was kind of a mixed bag. People had mixed opinions on it, but I'm going to put Mass Effect Trilogy as my number 2.
It would have been lower
What
on
is the
my
best
list.
of the trilogy?
What?
What's the best of the trilogy?
I feel like you have to go with 2. It's definitely the most like your actions have consequences, and like the ending can be crazy. And I'll try to there's a point where you lose some of your crew in 2, and then there's a time limit on it, which I didn't know. So I end up just going and like, you want to build up your ship for reasons, and I'm like, oh, I'll just wait to do that. And then I went and built up my ship. I lost half my crew because of it. So it was like cool to see that like your actions have consequences, and because I procrastinated, a lot of people died for me. Not all of them, so I still kept some of them. But I'm gonna have to say 2 is and that's the mainstream take of the trilogy is 2. But I also like 3. 1's definitely the lowest one, so 2, 3, 1 for me.
Interesting.
For me, it's 2, 1, 3. 3 really made me really upset. I hated 3. I guess hated 3 is aggressive, but 2 was so good that I thought 3 was going to be amazing because I played them pretty much straightforward. I didn't have to wait to play them because I just bought the trilogy. 3 was just so disappointing.
And I think part of it is I was late to Mass Effect. I got there's a trilogy bundle. That was the first time I got it. I think that was a couple years after the third one came out. So I already knew like that 3, at least the ending was going to be a letdown. So I think going in with that, I already knew that it wasn't going to be up to 2. But I still enjoyed it.
I also
And Andromeda's number 1, right? That goes without saying.
That's 0. That's the best.
Yeah, that's good.
I was so hyped for Andromeda, and at least it was more fun exploring than Starfield. What? Have you played it, Mike? Have you played any of the Mass Effects?
I have not. Jacob and Kyle have both been pushing them for a long time. I don't know. For me, like when I want to play a video game, there's usually something somewhat like indescribable that's just like, oh, I just have this itch. I gotta play this game. Like it gets in my head. I gotta do it. And it's never been there for Mass Effect. I've been like, yeah, those look cool. It's got elements of things that I like. It's, but it's just something that indescribable thing never really grabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
So
for the Andrew, you played it, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, I guess Lou. If you could have 2 companions to hang out with, who would they be?
Jarnus? Is that how you say it? The one with the alien with the messed up face?
Garrus?
Garrus? Garrus, yes. I would honestly, it would be Garrus and Taya. Tyla?
Tally?
Tally? Damn. Bad. Tough.
You're good.
Okay, it would be those 2.
Those are a good one.
Yeah, I really like. He's such a. What is it, Jarrus? What's his name again?
Garrus Vicarian.
It's good for podcasting. We up names.
This character meant so much to Lou.
You could just say Archangel. Isn't that his alias in 2? I think it's Archangel.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. He's just such a bro. I treat him really well. I'm really happy. I think he would just be a good sidekick. And then Talia for other reasons.
For me, I would say Tally is definitely one of them, and then I feel like Rex would just be fun to be around.
Rex is kind of a lot.
Lou, what's your number 2?
All right, my number 2. I am a Naughty Dog fan. I don't think there's been a game that Naughty Dog hasn't came out with that I'm not a fan of. So I'm just gonna honestly, those are gonna be the rest of my picks. I'm gonna go for, though, just in case anybody else surprisingly has it, I'm gonna go for Uncharted. I am a big Uncharted fan. I try to play them maybe once every couple years. I just re-download it on my PlayStation and I just run through the gauntlet. It's like playing a Indiana Jones. It's just good fun. The shooting is boring, kind of. It's very generic in a sense. It's almost kind of like Mass Effect. You just don't get all the powers, but yeah, I love it. I love Nathan Drake. I love the fact that he's such a clean, straightforward hero, but he's murdered thousands and thousands of people. I don't know, something about that just brings me joy, and I love Victor Sullivan. It's kind of like his dad, quote unquote. He's just a good time, and yeah, the villains are very generic. It's like watching an '80s movie, It's like just.
Sometimes you want that in a game, though,
Yeah,
something easy,
fun.
cinematic.
Yeah, the opening in Uncharted 2 is.
Is that the train or the car one?
The train
cliff?
One. Yeah, it is. By far, it blew my mind as a child. It's still good now. Yeah, it's just good old times, and they never, unlike Mass Effect, they never got bad. It never turned all 1 through 4. They're all good, and I think they all generally get better as you play them, and I think that's a good sign of a good trilogy is that they're all it's a complete climb. Yeah, just big fan.
So you'd rank them 4, 3, 2, 1 as your favorites?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, number one, of course, is just PlayStation game. Like, it can only be as good as a PlayStation game, and then number four is a PlayStation 4 game. So
Oh, was it on
comparing,
PS2? I thought it started on 2, but I don't know.
They started on PS3. Uncharted 1, I'm pretty sure is on
oh,
PS3.
you're right. You're completely right. I completely on that. I don't know why I said that. Keep it in though. Keep it in.
The
We are
series means a
valuable
lot to
here.
me.
Okay. I don't know what I was thinking.
But yeah, four is in my opinion the pinnacle of the series. I've only beaten 3 and 4, but I've played quite a bit of 1 and 2. I really liked 2. 3 was good. I did think it maybe lagged a bit too long, but I loved 4. 4 was fantastic.
I love when a game series too, when you can rank them for like where they just get better every game. There's a series that's not going to get drafted by me, but it was one of the ones I considered, and I was just thinking about that as I was looking over trying to decide my next pick, and I was like, man, these games just get better from one to the next, and I love when that happens.
I've never played any of the Uncharted games. It just really seem like my thing, but definitely the cinematics are like breathtaking.
I haven't played the new one either. Have you played it, Lou? The one where you don't play as Nathan Drake?
You play as the two girls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it. It's like a fun 4 hours, I think. I don't know why they made it. It seems a little weird, but I'm waiting to play their daughter. I'm waiting on for like
that would be a lot of fun.
Like a Tomb Raider situation.
Lou, I got one more question for you regarding Uncharted. Was Tom Holland a good choice for Nathan Drake?
Oh, no. Not
right.
at all. I think okay, so what's best about Uncharted? I have some feelings on the movie. Wasn't gonna share them because I don't know if it'd be good podcasting, but here we are. What's best about the Uncharted games is that there was some type of mythical situation going on in the games. Like in the first one, it was Nazi zombies, I believe. I believe it was something with Nazis. Yeah, like Nazi zombies. Don't quote me because apparently I think it came out when PlayStation 1 came out. In the second one, it was the Yetis. There's always some cool.
So it is like Indiana Jones, yeah.
Yeah, it's something. And then in the movie, they just didn't do it at all. They just did a weird plane thing. That was in 3. But yeah, it was ridiculous.
I think Mark Wahlberg as Sully is worse casting.
Yeah.
I think you could make Tom Holland work as a young Nathan, maybe before the first game, right? I can kind of see it. I don't see Mark Wahlberg as Sully at any age.
Well, I was watching an interview with him, and he back in the day they were trying to make a movie, and Mark Wahlberg was going to be the main character, but then he got old, and so they just put him at Sully, which makes no sense.
Who would you cast? Who would you cast instead of Tom Holland?
If I could do,
Danny DeVito.
There we go. I was gonna say Nathan Fillion. You know, if he could be any age.
Also a little old for the role.
Yeah. But young Nathan Fillion looks a lot like Drake.
Yeah.
Right, Nathan Drake. Yeah.
I feel like he might have a bit too much of a hard edge to him.
I haven't played any games. I was just going off purely looks.
Fair.
I've been watching my grandma's favorite TV show is Castle, so I've been watching a lot of Nathan Fillion.
I could see a jacked Zac Efron playing this role if he just dyed his hair.
Okay. I think
again, I also haven't played the games, so I'm just looking at pictures.
I think it should be like a Star Wars situation where we just find a British actor.
New person.
Just a brand new person. Yeah.
Tom Holland's approaching Chris Pratt levels in my book. But Mike, what is your number 2?
Hey, but it's a day though.
Well,
okay.
Nothing to do with Tom Holland. I mean, there's connection there, yes, but
sorry.
Who they're in a relationship with doesn't change their acting ability.
All right.
Sorry. I respect all women. Just want to put that out there.
Who wins the podcast for the day?
It was just so out of left field.
Welcome back, Lou.
Oh, dude, I've missed you.
We've been talking this whole time. What are you talking about?
No, I know, but I've missed having you on the pod.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, so my number 2's a little weird. It's all the things I would have had on my list pretty much been taken. But I'm okay with that because now we get to talk about some more obscure and some weird choices, which actually sounds kind of fun. So I'm going with the PC classic Backyard Sports. Backyard Baseball
choice.
was way too hard for me as a kid, but I loved it. Backyard Soccer consumed a full 14-hour stretch of my childhood that I don't want back. I feel very good about the way I spent that entire night. Backyard Football I had for the Game Boy Advance, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. My neighbor down the street growing up had Backyard Hockey, and they were all super fun. I loved all of them, and I know, I want to say JJ Watt jumped in on it, have talked about trying to save and revitalize and bring that franchise back. And all I can say is take my money. They were very simple.
Is this your version of the NCAA football games? You're just like, I don't care, take my money, I just want it back.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm just like, give me give me the original game and its simplicity, maybe just smooth some of the edges, or try and bring it back in a way that's somewhat modern. And either way, I'm all about it. It was so fun making your roster of kids and there was so much charm to those Humongous Entertainment games that just were one of my favorite things. And I literally can't over exaggerate how much I fell in love with Backyard Soccer for one night. I started playing it in my grandma's basement where I might have told the story in the pod, I don't know.
A couple times.
She had a daycare. I told this a couple times? Oh, okay.
I
Well,
think
then I won't.
Cliff Notes, just go for it. You started. Cliff Notes.
I want to hear about
I
grandma.
started playing in the evening, and then next thing I knew, kids were being dropped off, and I was 2 seasons in. And I was like, I should have gone to bed. And then I went upstairs and fell asleep on the couch. But I literally just played all night and couldn't stop playing. I was just completely engrossed.
Want to know
Who's
what'd
the
be
best
crazy?
player in those games?
Pablo.
Name
Pablo
of the guy.
Sanchez.
Oh, Pablo.
Yeah. And now for my snake pick, I get to go twice.
Whoa.
This is the hard one.
You're not going to give us any chance to speak about Backyard Sports?
I'm so sorry.
How dare you?
I thought ahead. My apologies, gentlemen. By all means.
Backyard football and backyard baseball were the best. Granted, those were the only ones my computer could play, so I might be a little biased. And the original of each of those.
Do you remember backyard baseball being really hard as a kid?
No.
No.
I remember being really
I must have
easy.
just been playing it really young then.
Remember hitting dingers.
Yeah. Pete Wheeler, just the fastest man alive. All right, I guess I'm the only one that's stuff to add, so you can go with your number 3.
Have any of you gentlemen played Mario Super Sluggers for the Wii?
Fantastic.
No, I think I
That was
tried
a
it
fun
on the
time as a
GameCube.
kid.
No, I was more of a
I haven't
tennis guy
played
myself.
it as an adult, really, so I don't know if it holds up at all.
I mean, it doesn't hold up as much as you remember it, but it's a good time.
All right, Mike,
That's
what's
really
your...
the only sports game I played outside, like Madden and NCAA football, which is coming back this next month for the first time in a decade.
Just take his money.
And
Just
imagine because it's EA, it will be
the exact same as
a
the
Madden reskin.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to get it.
Yeah.
And Michigan's going to win another 5 consecutive national titles. So.
Mike, what's your number 3?
All right. This is so difficult because now I'm just staring down a bunch of things that I think all have some merit. I'm going to say not Donkey Kong Country because while I think those games are technically all incredible, I just don't play them that much. I'm going to say not Metal Gear because while I enjoyed the first 3 immensely, I just don't really
You could save
want
these
to
for an honorable
make that my
mention.
Yeah, I mean, he is doing his honorable mention.
It's just right now.
In the middle of
I'm just eliminating.
He wants to make sure it makes the cut.
I'm going to go with Spyro the Dragon. I didn't think it was going to make the list, but it was the game I was talking about earlier that I said just gets better with each entry. I think it was revolutionary, not in the same way that Mario 64 was revolutionary to the 3D platformer, but it was revolutionary in the way that games render geometry. It had this, basically they came up with this new system where things would be lower poly the farther away they were, and so you could see for just unbelievable distances for the PlayStation, which I think is really cool. I love the history of video games, and so that's something that makes me smile, and it gives it some points that it maybe doesn't deserve. But also just tons and tons of hours in my aunt and uncle's basement I know Andrew was there for some of it, playing the Spyro games as a kid, and then I got the remakes, and they're all fantastic.
Beautiful
Anything
remakes.
after the first three, the original trilogy, don't waste your time. But there's magic in those first three games, and especially the third one. The third one is just
Is that the one with the
so good
skateboard?
as a 3D platformer. Yes, it's terrible skateboarding. Like, I remember that, and I loved it so much, and I thought it was incredible. And then there's a skateboarding mini game in one of the expanded editions of the second metal. It's like Metal Gear Solid 2
Yeah.
Substance had a skateboarding mini game, and I was like, this is incredible. And then that got me into Tony Hawk, and I was like, oh, this is what skateboarding games could be. So honorable mention to Tony Hawk as well. But yeah, the skateboarding no longer is as exciting as it was as a kid. But a bunch of things I didn't like as a kid, I actually find more fun now. So that's a trade-off I have no issue with.
I love Spyro as a kid too. I had like 2 stuffed Spyros. My dog ate one of them.
Oh, nice.
Rip.
Ooh.
Shout out to Cooper.
Copper.
Spyro's great, but hashtag Team Crash.
More of a Crash guy myself as well.
I never beat Spyro, but I always enjoyed like just going and playing around more. I never beat Crash either, because platformers. But I'm kind of glad the collectathon died.
Has died.
Mike, can I say, maybe this is your honorable mention, but can I say my surprise, now that you've gone through your top 3, that no Spider-Man?
It was the other one I was fighting with, and at the end of the day, I think Spider-Man 2018 Spider-Man 2018 is in constant flux with Hollow Knight for my number 1 game.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the day, while I enjoyed Spider-Man 2, I don't think either of them stand up well to Spider-Man 2018. And so it feels wrong to pick it as one of my favorite series, because ultimately it's just the series that happens to house one of my favorite 2 games. And the other ones, I don't think they stand up to the original well enough to make me pick them as a series. But they were definitely on the top 5. They were going to be last on the top 5 list, but they were there.
All right,
What you got for us?
Is this my last pick?
this is your last
Yes,
pick.
sir.
Ooh, tough. All right, so I said I was a Naughty Dog fan. So if you know Naughty Dog,
Last pick.
So I've already talked about Jack and Dexter.
Is this the last pick that you have for us?
Yeah. I've already talked about Jack and Dexter on the podcast, and
That's a good one.
I'm not gonna repeat it again, though. I do love Jack and Dexter. It is the best. It is my favorite series of all time. But I've already talked about it.
What,
So yes.
it's your favorite series of all time, and you're just going to throw it to the wayside?
I'm not gonna throw it to the wayside, but I've already talked about it.
I
So
don't
it's
remember
like
talking about it, but go ahead. Go ahead, pick
Okay.
the last. Go ahead,
Because I was
last pick.
thinking of Ratchet and Clank the whole time.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
very confused.
I think I did a terrible job explaining how his sidekick became
Fell into Dark Eco. It's that easy.
yeah, and I just don't think I did it well. Yeah, I can't even talk about it now. I'm so emotional with it.
All right, just hit us with your last pick then.
All right, so the last pick is Last of Us. If you are a sexist, go yourself. I don't understand why the second one got so much hate. Yeah.
Because there are
Oh, it's not
lesbian
sexism,
ends.
it's homophobia.
Yeah, please.
Oh, is it the homophobe? Is it because she's a girl or she likes girls? I thought which one was it?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't
I don't know.
play either of them, and yeah.
I love The Last of Us. I've always loved The Last of Us. It's the first game me and my wife played fully together, where she played. She just didn't watch me play. So I have the most rose-colored eyes for this game. It is pretty much the same as Uncharted in the sense of it's just a good movie, but it's a lot more thrilling of a movie, and it's honestly in some parts quite scary. I think if you played the first one, you know which part I'm talking about. Just a solid one. And then number 2, the mechanics got so much better. And I've seen I can't do cool stuff in the game, but I've seen other people do amazing stuff in the game, and it's just cool to see that they built a game to be able to do that. And the storyline, even though I don't agree with Ellie's decisions, I thought I was entranced with it. It was beautifully written. So, yeah, and then the TV show slaps. I love the TV show as well.
That was going to be my question. Because I have seen the show and I really enjoyed it.
Should they have had Nathan Fillion play Joel?
No, I really liked.
I
Pedro
really
Pascal
like
as
Could,
Joel.
yeah.
I as well. Also,
I just
love
know a
that
lot
he
of
did a good
people-
job.
In the video games, Joel looks similar to Nathan Drake, like an older version. Or at least when it first came out, that's what people said. So
I do.
the whole reason.
Oh, then they
asked.
should have had Mark Wahlberg play him.
There you go.
I will say I can't remember the girl's name, and I feel really bad about it. But the what's do you guys know what the girl?
The girl
who
from
played
Wolverine,
Ellie?
yeah.
She was
Oh, the girl who
Wolverine as
played
well.
Ellie?
I think she
Yeah,
was. Could be wrong there.
No, it
I'll
was.
have
She's
to intern
definitely
look.
the.
different. Yeah.
She's definitely the girl who played in Game of Thrones. She was the leader of her tribe or her group.
Yeah, she was part of the Mormonts.
Yeah, She is an amazing actor, just top notch. Even as a kid, she did a really good job in that in Games of Thrones, and she absolutely destroyed it in this TV show.
Shout out House of the Dragon.
So yeah, good stuff. Definitely want to give her props. Let me find
Hey, Lou, I loved the first game, and I like what you said, just beautifully written. I would agree with that. That'd be my sentiments for the first one. And I haven't played the second one, and I've really been thinking about it for a long time. And I do know the spoilers, and I'm just kind of so scared because I did come to love those characters. And even though I think it will end up being a very well-made game, I'm just scared to taint what I thought was such a beautiful experience.
And
I
maybe
totally get that.
Yeah, maybe that's
Because
why
I don't even want a second season of the show. I'm so happy with the first one. I'm like, I don't need anything to ruin or mess up this perfect.
I think the pivotal scene between Joel and Ellie late in the game might be my favorite like video game cutscene or moment of all time. It was just so touching and emotional.
Yeah.
And for that to be like ripped away, it just breaks my heart. And maybe I need to just experience it and that feel that pain and sorrow because that's what they were trying to convey in that moment. So
yeah, especially if you already know how the ending goes, but that ending was hard because Joel did not want this for Ellie, but Ellie just couldn't help
At
herself.
that point, just wait for the second season of the show, experience the story, and let the game stay intact.
Haven't seen the show either.
Oh, you haven't?
I don't have HBO.
Oh, dude,
I have not seen
we'll
it
have to do some
either.
watch parties. It's good.
It is.
I
Good.
do love Pedro Pascal though, and I think he's perfect casting as Joel. And I think he nails the look and just the persona and the mannerisms.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Also
that both
good
of
in
them
Game of
came from
Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Ellie, a contender for
Took
my
her head
favorite
and did
female
this.
video game character after my girl Sammy.
Wait, can you say that
Mike's
again?
girl
Sorry.
Sammy too. Ellie, maybe a contender for female video game character after Mike and I. Girl Samus, Aaron.
I tried playing the first one, did not like the controls, so I put it down and haven't come back. I meant to. I know it's on PC now, so I know there's going to be a remapping with that. I just haven't gotten around to it. Also haven't seen the TV show because I wanted to play the game first if I was going to go back and do it. So that's where I'm at.
I mean, Nick Hoffman is in the TV show, and he does a really good job too.
He was incredible in his role.
Yeah. Shout out to Bella Ramsey. That's her name, by the way.
Yeah, I was wrong. You're right. She was not in. I don't know who the little girl in Wolverine was.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, way different age.
It's been so long since I've watched that show, so just some weird memory. But my number 3, I figured it wasn't get taken, is the Elder Scrolls series. It is just such a fantastic RPG world, and one thing that Bethesda used to do really well, looking at you, Starfield, is that you could just get lost.
So much salt.
I know. You could just, especially now they're releasing one mission for $7. It's just like, yeah, F you. That's dumb.
Well, that's absurd, yeah.
That is crazy.
But one thing I loved about Bethesda games is their world building, and it's like you would just get lost. You'd be going to some objective, and you'd be like, oh, what's that over there? And you go, and 3 hours later, you're like, oh yeah, I should go back and actually do the quest I was going to do. And it's just the immersion and the world building. And I know Lou isn't a fan of Skyrim, but I think that is one of the best games of all time, especially when you include mods. But my favorite out of all of them is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I just think it has some of the best storytelling in all of video games, especially the Dark Brotherhood quests and everything. And I just love the world. And it is so easy to get lost in. And the characters are great, very memorable, especially like when you get into things like the Shivering Isles and things like that. And I've just spent so much time that I felt like I couldn't leave it off this list, but like I said, I had a feeling no one else was going to take it, so that's why it's my number 3.
By the way, I don't hate Skyrim.
No, you hate it. You hate it.
I had also in high school a great experience with it.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
I just want to put that out there.
I know, Mike, you haven't really played them. Andrew, have you played any of the Elder Scrolls series?
No, I have not played Elder Scrolls or Souls. So crazy.
Oh, with that,
This is the one you and Cantwell put like 10,000 hours or whatever into, right?
Drew.
Oh, it was Drew. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole friend group, like, I don't know if I've told it on this day, but like, so Skyrim came out on 11/11/11, very easy to remember. For some reason, all my friends but Drew had school off the day, and Drew somehow convinced his parents to let him skip school that day. So everyone came over, and we went to the midnight release of Skyrim and everything. We just came home and played it in my mom's basement, and we were just all like blown away by it. And I remember someone got killed by the troll going up to High Rothgar, and then I'm like, all right, now I need to prepare for the troll. And it's just cool how we all took like different paths, but like we'd still get to the same points of the story, but we went different ways to get there. And it was just, that has to be one of my favorite nights. It was just so much fun. And I, like I said, the day it came out, I think I played 23 hours in it. Basically stopped to eat and to go to the bathroom. I was just enthralled.
That's how it was with Dark Souls 2.
Really, Dark Souls 2?
I was
gonna say that's
most
people hate on that.
It only took about 24 hours for me to go, yeah, this game sucks.
Okay. All right. If there's a Dark Souls 2 hate trivia, I will be a part of it. Not trivia, whatever you call it. I'm so upset. Pod, yeah. It was more fan club than anything, but yeah.
Well, it was made by a different developer, so.
Yeah. It was.
I'm surprised. I am shocked Dark Souls did not get picked. But Andrew, what is your number 3?
Better be Dark Souls.
He hasn't played Dark Souls.
I'll close it out with another Nintendo property. The Curveball, come on. I don't know if anyone else has ever played this outside of, no, not Kirby.
Mother?
Pikmin.
Mother.
Big Pikmin fan. Grew up with the first 2 on the GameCube as a kid. Since then, they've only made 2 other mainline series games: Pikmin 3 for the Wii U and then Pikmin 4 for the Switch. I love that each game kind of feels unique and fresh and stands on its own. I love that it's simultaneously both a very relaxing and chill game to play, but also one where you really have to be locked in if you're trying to like get the best times.
Clock's ticking.
And as exactly. And you get to a point where it's funny because when I was a little kid, I always followed my Pikmin everywhere. I was always with my Pikmin. I was overseeing whatever they did, whether they were fighting an enemy, carrying an item. And then, once you get better at the game, you get older, you realize you have to be moving at all times. And any time you're not moving is wasted time. And it's really about careful time management at the end of the day. It's just got this kind of cute, fun game design. But it's really a puzzle and a test of your ability. And it's a great, underappreciated Nintendo gem.
So it's kind of like a real-time strategy meets a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Exactly.
That dang bird. I hate him. I think that's Pikmin 1.
Yeah. All of them have those long-necked bird things.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
it
remember
was
those being annoying in Smash.
And those freaking, if you didn't get off the planet in time, they would just murk Olimar. Like, they did not hold back. It was brutal.
It is true. Yeah. For a kid, that was pretty crazy to see. If you don't get off the planet in time, Olimar dies. And they turn him into a Pikmin. And it's funny because you would get 30 days to beat the game. And as a kid, that was challenging for me to do. Now, as an adult, I can beat it in like 9 days. So.
Is there what's the record for fewest days?
For Pikmin 1, it's, I believe, 6. But
Wow.
you have to break the game, kind of, and really abuse, glitches.
Oh,
and
okay.
also just be really, really, really good and really precise and optimized. But yeah, if you don't play the game in ways that it's not meant to be played, you can't beat it in under 9 days.
Okay, cool. So that's like you can shave real time off of it, but in terms of days, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Which it's great for speedrunning for that very reason, because I never timed myself. I kept playing because I got to a point where I got to 12 days, and that was kind of my bar for a long time, and I really had to lock in, and I'm like, oh, I got to 11, I got to 10, and finally 9, and I realized, this is a point I'm never going to get past, but it's just very satisfying for me to have achieved that goal. And that's just Pikmin 1. Everyone has their favorites because, again, they are very unique series.
Which
1
one's
and
yours?
3 kind of stand together. 2 and 4. I would say 3. I would say 3 is my favorite. 2 is my least favorite, even though it was my favorite as a kid. And then 1 and 4, I'd go back and forth. 1 is so much shorter. I can beat it in one sitting, so that's kind of very satisfying. I know I can come back to it. 4 is the longest by far, but it has a lot of quality of life improvements. So Maybe one day I'll replay it again. I think probably I will. But between those two, it'd be hard to rank.
Nice. Yeah, I only ever played at like a friend's house, so I did get Pikmin 3 for free on the Wii U, but I never got around to
Give it
playing
a
it.
go.
Hope it's still downloaded.
Yeah,
If not, I'm screwed.
Maybe this is a me thing, but like I don't like in terms of speedrunning, I don't like the idea of playing glitched runs. Like I think it's great that people have the option. I would never try and like be like, oh, you're stupid for doing this. But like glitchless is always like where my heart lies when in terms of like watching speedruns.
Well, define a glitch, because like in Super Metroid, I always get the wave beam early because I'll like intentionally jump onto the spikes and then quickly like wall jump up to get it before
That's
I
not a
get
glitch.
the
That's
grapple beam.
yeah. See, so like that's what I would consider like a relatively high level sequence break, where you're utilizing intended features like iframes and the bouncing effect. Like I'm totally good with that. This is actually a terrible example because like Mario is the one time I think glitched runs are super super cool. But for like example, in the Mario speed runs with the glitches, you can do like the thing where you like clip into walls and then just kind of slide right through them.
Mm-hmm. Or the backwards long jump up the stairs.
Yeah, up the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff where I'm like, it's incredibly impressive. It's super cool, but I'm like, that's not an intended game mechanic. You're using something that got past the developers,
Right.
And I'm not saying don't use it, but for me, I'm just like, no, I want to see the fastest somebody can beat it without breaking the game. I don't even want to say cheating because it's not.
And for me, I think the backwards long jumping is cool.
So just the recap, the draft order. First overall went Metroid, then Mario Kart, Zelda, Mario, Super Smash Bros., Mass Effect, Uncharted, Backyard Sports, Spyro, The Last of Us, The Elder Scrolls, and Pikmin. Gentlemen, let's go with, we'll throw, say, 2 honorable mentions. What do you guys got? Doesn't matter with the order. It's lightning round.
Guitar Hero.
I was thought about putting that on it's on my list, but yeah, I thought about that.
It was on my list as well.
KOTOR.
Also the Tony Hawk games.
Say Knights of the Old Republic
Nice.
1 and 2.
Nice.
Battlefront
Which
1 and 2.
Because that's a big debate with Jacob and I, 1 versus 2.
So I'm gonna say 1 just because it's fully completed. You have to have mods to get the full experience for 2, because they were rushed to get it out.
100%.
So with mods at 2 probably, but the base game 1.
The characters are just so much more fleshed out in 1.
But I do
think
love
the story
Darth
is
Nihilus.
just way
in his
better, and I
design.
prefer the worlds. Yeah.
And then Battlefront 1 or 2 are my also honorable mentions. The original Battlefronts, I should say, not the new
those
ones.
were a blast.
Played them a couple weekends ago. Still fun.
For me, it would be Prince of Persia, the first 3.
Ooh, nice.
Those are good. I'm gonna do God of War, the first 3. It just came out when I was it was the most angstiest at the time, and it just hit everything I needed as a middle schooler.
Press triangle to smash.
Yep, and best believe it, I definitely didn't do that. I've done that more than once.
For me, I'll go with Mega Man, kind of the
nice.
game series that got me into retro gaming. They pumped out 6 of these bad boys, rapid fire on the NES. Then they did 1 on the SNES, 1 on the PS1. And then they kind of did 2 retro throwbacks on the PS3 and 360 with Mega Man 9 and 10. 10 came out in 2010. And unfortunately, this series is kind of on ice. Since Mega Man 10 in 2010, we've only had 1 entry, Mega Man 11 in 2018, with no further entries in sight.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
just keep
kinda
on
sad.
re-releasing them. It's like the Legacy collections.
Yeah, exactly.
I also
So,
like the Game Boy ones.
Great series, but
Different
kind
series,
of
though.
falling on a hard time. So, and then for my other honorable mention, I already talked about Street Fighter, so I'll go with a game series with only 2 entries. I'm going to say Portal.
Fantastic.
Poor replay value because once you know the puzzles, it just doesn't hit as hard, but incredible acting, great humor, amazing puzzles. And the reason it's on here is that if Portal 3 was announced, that's a day 1 buy for me. I'd jump through a flaming hoop to get it.
All right, Andrew. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Do you have anything to shout out or anything you want to, shine some light on?
No.
The situation in Gaza is.
Shout out your dating stuff. But your
dating stuff.
Yeah, your dating app stuff. Sorry, I feel like an old man.
Nothing thrilling in that.
What's your Tinder handle?
Yeah, what's your Tinder hit? Is that a thing? What's your Tinder hit?
Bumble. What's your
You got a grinder?
What's the coffee
At
meets bag?
45.
Give the honeys the email address so they can swoop in your DMs.
Bumble honeys?
Bubble Honeys.
All right. Well,
That's not a
Lou,
term already. It should be.
Lou, what are we talking
Here,
about
here's
next?
what I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to Animal Well. Go support Video Game Donkey and purchase your copy of Animal Well, inspired by Metroidvanias.
I thought it was
As
Donkey.
in the #1 drafted game series, Metroid. There you go. Go buy Animal Well. It's
I
only
agree.
like, what, $20?
Yeah, it's good. I haven't beat it yet, but it was a lot.
One
It
guy
is.
made it himself. Crazy.
All right, Lou, what are we talking about next week?
All right, the next thing we're talking about. Sorry, these dogs are fighting me. All right, the next thing that we're talking about is I think I brought this up in the. Okay, shout out to Michael Bay. Shabala. The next thing we're talking about is I brought this up in the pod before. Top 5 fictional characters you let watch your child.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your top video game series are. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment. We'll read it off on the pod. On that, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Adios, muchachos.
Ciao. Arrivederci.
Bzzz to the Bumble honeys.